I mean, some days, you can't. Some days, just them days where you're just like, all right, I got to rage quit. But I just, if I'm having a day like that, I usually just try to think like I'm playing with my mouth, dude. Chill out. You're doing a lot better than most people in the server.
Well, Rocky, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to do this today. Really excited to get to talk to you today. For people who may not know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into streaming?
Yeah, well, my name's Rocky Stoutenburgh. On the internet, I go as RockyNoHands. And I got into streaming for my brother. He used to play with a bunch of Twitch streamers, and he was like, "Hey, man, you should try streaming because if people see what you're doing, if you get a webcam or something, people are not gonna believe it. They'll go crazy." And sure enough, they did.
Was becoming a full-time streamer or a being able to turn video gaming into a career always a goal of yours?
Yeah, I when it started, it was me and my brother was like a feel out thing, see what would happen. And then, like, obviously, I can't. There's no job. What could I do? Be like a greeter at Walmart or something. There's not many options for me. So being able to find this and pull it off is, probably a dream job for most people like me.
What's been the most unexpected or rewarding part of streaming thus far?
I think the most unexpected thing is the amount of people that I've inspired and that message me for advice or help. And then I think the most rewarding thing is, whenever I get a little kid that is looking for help and I get to help them out. I think that's my favorite thing.
Yeah, that's got to be awesome, especially being able to share that passion, especially the way video games can transcend generations, being able to pass that on to a younger generation as well. So, for those who aren't familiar with the quad stick, can you tell us a little bit about that and how it works?
Yeah, well, the quad stick, it's if you like, let's say you take a console controller and you just take one analog and then you put like a 6-inch adapter on it. So I'm basically like 6 inches away from a analog, and then it moves around and you have three holes in it, a lip trigger in it, and a side tube in it, and you just blow or sip into any of the holes. Like you could do two holes at once, one hole, and then you key bind them to whatever you want for like jump, shoot, crouch, and then you just can only use one action at a time, basically.
What was the learning curve like on using a controller like that?
Yeah, I started off just playing like overhead strategy type games for a while, and then I transferred over to FPS games. And it's mostly just you got to learn what not to do and what you can do. Like I know I'm not going to be able to run up the steps into an attic and shoot a guy as effectively as someone else that can walk backwards and aim at the same time. So I just got to find different ways on doing things that I know like improve my chance of not dying.
Yeah, but I'm sure that also leads to unique strategies that your opponent might not be expecting at the same time.
Yeah, it's you just got to be smarter. It's you got to play smarter and not harder, I guess.
So, I mean, I play a lot of FPS as well. They can be very frustrating experiences, especially with situations like you mentioned when someone is hiding in an attic and you're just like, I did not see you there. What are you doing? So, how do you maintain a positive mental attitude when the going gets tough?
I mean, some days, you can't. Some days, just them days where you're just like, all right, I got to rage quit. But I just, if I'm having a day like that, I usually just try to think like I'm playing with my mouth, dude. Chill out. You're doing a lot better than most people in the server. And then even days like that, I'll get off and I'll be laying in bed at night and I'll be like, I'm not playing that game tomorrow. And then I'll be watching someone else play it. And I'll be like, I got to get on tomorrow and redeem myself.
Yeah, that redemption drive is it's a powerful motivator. But what games do you like to play most versus like what's your favorite competitive game? What's your favorite game to kind of chill out when you need a break from that?
Obviously, I love BRs. I always play all the BRs. And anyone for the last few years, I've played them all. But I think my favorite game that I don't play anymore is NHL games. I love those games, but I got a PC now and it's not on console, so it's rough to play it these days. I don't know if you ever heard of like Pogo Stuck or
Mhm.
Getting Over It, what
Oh
like you
yeah.
do with the pot and the hammer. Those are like my chill out play games that I like to play like at night on the laptop and stuff when no one's watching.
A lot more people are going to be watching thanks to your newly minted deal with Luminosity, which congratulations, very exciting stuff. You have 2
Thank you.
Guinness World Records. You've become the first ever quadriplegic esports pro. So what does it mean to you to sign with an organization like Luminosity?
When you start streaming, that's the goal. You see all the big streamers, you see the pro gamers, and they have their esports teams, and you're like, man, I wish I could be a part of a team like that one day. So to be able to sign with like one of the biggest North American esports teams in the world is definitely like the tip of the hat for accomplishments so far in my streaming career.
How did the deal with Luminosity, how did you first come onto their radar?
Dreezy, who does the Destructoid streams, went into my stream and was like, "Hey, we're doing a competition called Destructoids. So you think you can stream? I think you'll have a good shot at winning it. You should give it a shot." And I was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot." And most people just did the competition. They did their interviews. You basically just had to stream and like put on a performance. And then everyone did theirs, but what I did was I watched every single one. I listened to the judging. So when the finals came around, I had like a whole new stream, a whole bunch of gags and skits and stuff. And I ended up winning it. And then what you would win is a chance to get into another tournament for $100,000 and a year signing with Luminosity. But a few days later, they contacted me and they're like, "Hey, we want to sign you now. We don't want you in the tournament." And I was like, "Okay, that sounds amazing to me." So the other day, I actually was just one of the judges for the season 2 for the finals of Destructoids. So you think you can stream?
With this Luminosity deal, what does that mean for you moving forward? How is that going to change the game for you?
I definitely needed that competition. I was just streaming like every day. I really wasn't doing much, just playing the games, getting off playing the games, and that competition like lit a fire under me. And I've been making a lot of content. I bought a lot of green screens and cameras, trying to up my content instead of just being a gamer, more of a content creator. So I think Luminosity noticed that and they see my hard work. So being a part of them, it's definitely going to help me with like getting more advice from them, more tips, ideas, getting my name out there. Obviously, everyone knows who LG is, so that's going to help. And then I think that like I just got to keep making these videos, keep playing, keep slaying, keep winning, and I think the sky's the limit for me, really.
Now, something else I want to talk to you about is accessibility in gaming. Now, obviously, you use the quad stick, and I feel like other companies just now are kind of really putting more of an emphasis on that with things like The Last of Us Part 2 having a very robust set of accessibility options, Xbox and Microsoft putting out the accessible controller. What does that mean to you as a gamer, and what would you like to see from the industry moving forward to improve?
Yeah, it's definitely night and day from when I first got my controller in about 2008. It's definitely changed a lot. So when you see all these games that like the best thing any game can really do is you get into the game. Obviously, there's all types of disabilities when it comes to like hearing, sight, physical. You know what I mean? So there's a lot for every game to cover to make everyone happy. But I think the best thing any game can do is when you jump into the settings and you can put any button to any key you want is the best. Like that's the best, most helpful thing that they can do for like any game. So everyone's doing more and doing more, and you can tell like when you see a game in like Twitter, let's say, they're always talking about accessibility and stuff. So the industry definitely has their eye on it, and they're noticing more and more people like me are actual gamers, and they spend most of their days gaming just as much as everyone else. So I think they're on the right path, definitely. Only thing I would maybe like to see is like there's a lot of Twitch streamers that have disabilities that but they never really get to showcase their skill, or they don't get invited to like the Twitch tournaments and stuff like that. So that'd be cool to see stuff like that maybe.
Awesome. Well, Rocky, thank you again for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it. And if you see me on the server, please do not shoot me on sight. I'm friendly.
All right. Just
All right, man.
give me a hand signal and I'll let you pass.
Yes, I'll do a tactical crouch.
All right. Thank you
Awesome.
guys.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.